A very warm welcome from heated Austin, Texas here for the DreamHack All-Stars as we get into our second day of the tournament, and it is championship day here for the North America Summer Regionals here as we do begin off with some fantastic games. We already had a great day one. We are back for a day number two. My name is James Kyle Carroll. Alongside me we have Mr. J How. We have a particularly tall Zoya, not quite sure what's going on there. And we have a usually short Gilly over at the very left-hand side.
Has anyone seen my box? Have you guys? Zoya!
I wanted it to be cool.
How dare you?
I'm not sure that's actually possible, but anyway, okay. Dear me. All right, we have a lot to cover today throughout the start of the show, of course. We are going to take you down the rundown of what we have from the Summer Championship as a whole. Obviously, all of the regions culminate at DreamHack Summer. We've already had Team Dignitas qualify from the first Summer Regional. There will be one going down on laterwards, but also eStar has qualified in China, and from what a little birdie told me, EDG
is out.
Is dead.
X-Team?
X-Team 3-0'd them.
Cannot believe.
I can't. Well, you know what?
We can.
All right. EDG
Elegant
did good.
is
both elegant and amazing.
Both elegant and amazing.
Yes.
Ooh. How ravishing. All right. Well, okay. So, yeah, obviously, we're going to have one team from today qualifying for the Summer Regional as well, Summer Championship as well, which will be going down over in Sweden. Very, very excited for that one. The Spring Championship was fantastic. Gilly can testify to that one for sure. And now we can take a look at the groups for today. We've already had a couple of the games play out yesterday, as you can see here by the standings from Group A to Group B. We won't harp on about these too much, but some of the bigger surprises, Tempo Storm 0-4.
Yeah.
What happened, Zoya?
They were actually surprisingly close games that Cognitive just edged it out. It was a really good set if you did not get a chance to go watch them. The games were really close. Even saw Jaina played in one of those games.
Oh, wow.
Cognitive turned it up, and yeah, they got 0-4 in the tournament. I bet that's a surprise to everyone.
So Jaina played, confirmed 8th place.
Yes.
Right, okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to have a little bit of a more focus on towards Group A, of course, as we will be starting things off actually in Group A today, but we'll get onto that a little bit later. Cloud9 topping the group 4-0. Really kind of surprising quite a few people there with their performances against Team Naventic, and I mean, guys, that Towers of Doom game, the way Cloud9 actually showed up yesterday against their, one would say, their rivals now in America, very, very impressive.
Rivals for sure. The fact that we saw Zeratul played on that with an Abathur as well. We saw the Abathur hunting. I believe Gilly called that beforehand. I mean, it was just a thing to see. I mean, I think the crowd was excited. I mean, there was action going on all over that map.
You know, that, I swear, Zoya, every time we cast Towers of Doom, that is the voice killer. Because something crazy happens there. We had the Murlocs versus Tempo game at Heroes Rising, and now we have that crazy game with the 1 full minute delay around that one altar until Falsight got back. It was beautiful. It was absolutely amazing.
Cloud9 being the only team in this tournament so far who has not dropped the map yet.
Yeah.
Right.
They are undefeated right now, and we'll see today if they can keep that momentum going.
Very impressive stuff. As you say, the control. I mean, that engagement was one of the best engagements I've seen in months of Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, we're not in Korea right now, we're not in China right now, but we're here in America, and just when it all culminates to that one moment around that shrine, it was extremely beautiful to watch. That was beautiful Heroes of the Storm for sure. Let's take a look at Group B as well as we move on down the line. We do have Gale Force eSports topping the group. They came in confident and they struck home confident. Give us the lowdown here, guys.
I mean, the confidence factor, we had Michael Udall at the very end of the night up here. He spoke about wanting to be the best in the world, not North America. They're coming in fully expecting to get first place here in this tournament.
Yeah, I adore that team. You can see in the way that they play how much they love playing with each other. This is a new team, but they all can feel it when they play together. They can tell that this is the right team for them. I was able to sit and talk with them a bit, and they all were saying, like, this is the best team we've ever been on. We all respect each other. We respect how much synergy we have together, and you can see it in their play.
Yeah, even Rothel said that this is the most fun he's ever had on any team.
Right.
It's not like he didn't get along with his old team, because he does still respect Claudius and Yuge and all his old teammates a lot. He just loves playing with these guys.
Feels good when you're winning, though.
Yes, also, that helps a lot, too.
I think overall, the Group B was like pretty much turned on its head for the most part. I mean, of course, you know, people came in expecting Gale Force and National Authority to put up a good fight and maybe even advance on. But when we look at the initial results from that group, Cog and Tempo Storm in 3rd and 4th place in that group at the moment. Obviously, Cog is still alive and will be playing later on. But certainly a shakeup. Certainly a shakeup for sure. All right, we are going to head on over to our first game of the day, and it will be Naventic going up against Panda Global. It is the rematch to start things off here on day number 2. And obviously, Naventic looking for blood. I'm almost 100% sure, even in a relaxed atmosphere as this one, they are hungry and thirsty. Look at him. Oh, he wants it. But, of course...
Is that hunger or is that sleepiness?
That's... Shh. Zoya, stop it. Stop it. Stop talking. All right. For sure, though, they want their revenge. There's another Naventic member, as you can see. But overall, against Cloud9, probably not particularly pleased with how things went down, right?
Yeah, Big Impact tweeted that they were definitely off their game. I think maybe tiredness too. Kenma said that the change, a couple hours of difference in time change was definitely a factor since it was later on in the day and changing up for that. But they said that they realized that it was off, and they said as long as they don't play like that, they come in with a fresh attitude, they're going to be fine.
I mean, that set versus Cloud9, we saw Rexar. I mean, how much do you prepare for Rexar there? And then they also played Abathur's second game. It just didn't feel like a traditional game between Naventic and Cloud9 that we've seen historically.
But Cloud9 did play Rexar in the qualifiers, right?
Not versus Naventic, though.
But they could have scouted it out, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Right. But then, what do you do against Rexar? How do you deal with it? I suppose something like a Zeratul to eventually get enemy with a very squishy target, in essence, to try and get onto it, but he's almost always protected. So, but anyway, that's by the by. Let's move on to Panda Global, of course, with Yuge to start things off. Panda Global, they took the first game off Naventic. Naventic, I don't know if they weren't awake, I don't know what was going on, but Panda Global brought the fight to Naventic. Can they do that again, guys?
Well, they said that they realized that the first game was a draft mistake when we had Fan up at the desk. So they realized that that was a problem. They weren't at all tilted, having lost that game. They were fine to go in with the next games. But interestingly, they have been experimenting in the draft, right, guys? Like we had the Asmodee.
Very much so.
I don't know. I'm pretty confident in Naventic in this match. You saw throughout that one best of 3 that, yes, Panda Global took the first game. It was a good game. But you saw Naventic throughout Game 2 and throughout Game 3 just adjusting their play on the fly to how Panda Global plays the matches. And because they've already started to learn against them going into this set, they're already, you know, ahead in that aspect. And I feel they're going to keep that momentum in this set.
Looking at the drafts, it was one of the things that we saw. We saw some of the pickups from Panda Global in the first 2 games. We saw a priority towards the bans. ETC was picked up in the second game by Panda Global. Naventic did win, but we saw a first ban ETC in game number 3. So a little bit of transition, as you talked about, with the adaptability towards their draft.
Yeah, and it's so important to be able to do that in a tournament setting, because anytime you play a lot of games over a short period of time, there's a tournament meta that develops, and the team who can best adapt to that and to their opponents on the fly like that, they're the ones that are going to win. So it's a great point you bring up, J-Hum. Sorry.
That's fine. That is totally fine. It's going to be interesting to see what the maps are for this one, so we can actually take a check out of those now between Naventic and Panda Global, because of course that is a big determinant factor as to how this is going to go down. Garden of Terror banned out first. I don't know if we're ever going to see a map of Garden of Terror.
Not Nene.
No. And then Battlefield of Eternity gone as well. Sky Temple will start. It's becoming a common theme here that Sky Temple is one of our go-tos at the very beginning. Then Infernal Shrines and Towers of Doom if we need it. Oh boy, do I hope it goes to 3 maps, because I don't know why at the beginning everyone disliked Towers of Doom, and I loved it so much from the very word go. Maybe that's just me being a casual, I'm not sure.
It's gotten better because people have learned how to end the game without just using the objective. You have the pumpkins you can escort in, you have the boss, and we're seeing those utilized more to help end the game faster. Before it was just, well, we gotta wait for the shrines, and now it's people have figured out how to actually play the map.
Yeah. How much do these teams prioritize the maps? Guys, game number 1 and 2 yesterday, Sky Temple, Infernal Shrines.
Yeah, Sky Temple for Naventic has been a pretty common theme for them, for sure, picking-wise. And then Infernal, that's something we discussed yesterday. Like everybody loves Infernal. It's really been the new popular, the new hotness for the teams to pick that map.
All right, we can actually take a look at Sky Temple as well, going into our first map. And Gilly, why don't you take it away?
All right, Sky Temple, the biggest battle round in Heroes of the Storm. There are 3 lanes and 3 temples. Stand on the temple as Arthas is doing here, and not only will you have to face the Guardians, but lasers will shoot at your opponent's structures. You can even use this to take out the core, but of course you have to get through all of the other structures first. If you get heroes who can hold those temples very well as heroes who can help you push down structures so you don't have to waste any of the shots from that, that's going to help you be able to win on Sky Temple. Also, there is 5 mercenary camps, one of which being the boss, and the boss is likely a throw pit a lot of times for teams, though I swear that they've gotten quite a bit better about that.
Yeah.
At least controlling it.
Sometimes.
Maybe?
Sometimes.
I'm pleasantly surprised at how good NA is able to control it actually during this tournament, especially. Yeah. It's very, very good. I love watching those videos. There's always some quirky compositions. Tychus, Reyna, and Nova doing the hard camp all at the same time.
hanging out at a temple.
Yeah, Arthas in general, until maybe that rework comes along. That would be very, very nice, of course. But anyway, I think very, very soon we will be going into the picks and bans between these two teams. They are just getting set up and getting good to go. All contemplating as to how they're going to approach things. I mean, Jayhao, you've already breezed over some of the more trends that you would see here. Going on to Sky Temple, is there anything that really stands out to you between these two?
Gilly talked about having Fan up here yesterday and their draft during the first game. They went Li Ming Zagara and had no true engagement. They had ETC in their hands that game, I believe, and it really made it difficult for them to play their style. They're known for a very aggressive style going in with Zuna, as Zoya likes to point out, very aggressive shot calling. And I think that first game, it might have been a mistake in the draft. As you can see, they came back, won game number 2 and game number 3 pretty convincingly.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, did they actually play? They did not play each other, Cloud9 and Naventic on Sky Temple too. So we'll see if they are adjusting that, if they again want to prioritize Li Ming as highly as they did in that one game. Li Ming has been one of the big questions for this tournament, I think.
In Europe, it wasn't very good at all, to be honest. But here, it's kind of like a 50-50 middle ground. It really depends who's using it and also depends kind of on the build. Sometimes we see it doing very well with dominance, for example, like we saw in Team of the Spider Queen. And then we even saw those missile builds later on down the line doing big damage, to which Michael Udall even gave the tip of a hat to when they were playing the Asmodee game, because it is extremely powerful if you're able to hit those kind of skill shots, especially when you've got Mirror Ball at level 16. So hit and miss with Li Ming. What side of the fence do you sit on, Zoya?
I think if you could play Li Ming perfectly or close to it, she's a good pick. But it's still pretty inconsistent. Half the time you only see 1, maybe 2 missiles connect. If you're landing the combo perfectly every time, where you get the orb in and then you get all the missiles to strike, I think she makes sense. But I think there's too much inconsistency with how people are playing Li Ming right now.
We saw a small, I guess, adjustment throughout the day in terms of the prioritization on her to, you know, favor things like the Kael'thas's more. I mean, to be fair, that's always been favored. Let's not beat around the bush in that regard at all. But something that I was surprised that we didn't see too much of yesterday, and we mentioned it before the show, was the fact that we didn't see much Thrall. Panda Global was actually the one team that did play Thrall on this map yesterday. Is there potential for that again, or are they going to be looking at this series in a little bit of a different light?
I mean, we've seen it used a little bit different. I believe there was a game we also saw with a Thrall Greymane resurgence at one point, and it's part of that engagement tool that you see with Thrall. He does allow that with the Sundering, but with the recent Sundering nerf, just 0.25 seconds off of that stun. It seems to be changing a little bit about how teams are looking at Thrall right now.
Yeah, it's interesting to see these melee assassins go through like what is the best, what's in flux, because they've been such a pivotal part of compositions for North American teams for quite some time. So I don't know how that's going to factor into it. I do know that Panda Global plays Thrall fairly often. That is something that we'll see Cladius on. But just as with them in general, you never know. And especially having a night to prepare for this match, knowing that this is it. This is tournament life. They have to beat Naventic to go on to the semis. If ever there's a time to do something crazy, to have Cladius on whatever it is that he might want to be on, or anybody else, you know, this would be it.
I think this is the tournament where we're seeing the rise of Zeratul. I think it starts here.
You think?
And it's going to spread to, hopefully, Europe. It's already happening in China. We're seeing that Zeratul and Illidan are prioritized more than any other melee assassin. Even Sonya, if you count her in that vein, right? We're seeing them see more play there. Cloud9 has always been running Zeratul. It's starting to look really good. I mean, we saw them in the qualifiers use it versus Panda Global. We saw it yesterday versus Naventic.
Right.
it makes sense in this current meta. I think right now we're going to be starting to see that transition into more Zeratul.
Zera's a funny one. He comes in waves.
Yeah.
Like every so often, everyone's like, "Oh, actually, yeah. Oh, we remembered that Void Prism was really good. Okay, yeah, we'll take that again. We'll use that again. That's kind of cool." And then he suddenly phases out.
It's
for a while,
you know,
and he
the
comes
nerf
back.
effect. You know, whenever he got hit the range on Void Prison nerf, he had a massive drop off, and then that happens with a lot of nerfs. It's like, well, this hero's unplayable, I guess, because they nerfed him. No.
Actually,
He's still very
it's
good.
fine,
Actually,
yeah.
Void
He's
Prism is
still
still the
very
best
good.
ultimate in the game. Like, I think also something to note is that we see a lot of global presence here for sure. Is there chances of Dahaka? I mean, Dahaka on this map, I believe on Sky Temple is an extremely powerful tool to have. Is there chances we could see that going forward?
I hope so. He was only played once throughout all of yesterday, and it was on the
Right.
second stream. It was very surprising because, I mean, we've seen it across all regions, even NA. Dahaka rose very popular throughout the qualifiers. EU loves him. China and Korea love him. For some reason, we've barely seen him at this tournament. It's puzzling to me.
It makes me wonder if people are trying to hide that or something. Because it is crazy how much it was used in the qualifiers, especially from Gale Force. I thought if anybody would play him more, it was going to be Gale Force, but they were shying away from him yesterday. A couple of games from the qualifiers, Naventic busted out Dahaka, and then Panda Global. I think they were the ones who play him, right? Didn't they play the double warrior with it too?
Yeah.
Yes. So
Sorry, on
that
Curse
was
versus Naventic.
that was on Curse. That's right. So maybe we'll see more of that. I do know Cladius really likes to play Dahaka.
Yeah, I would love to see it. I think it's super, super strong. Of course, the funny thing about it is that, yeah, Drag's got to wind up. Yeah, it's not that easy to land, but if you've got a stun before it, very easy to actually make that work. We are going into draft for game number 1 here between Naventic and Panda Global. Thank you very much for tuning in this early in the day, or if you're in Europe, probably midnight, I'm not quite sure. As we go into it, we will have Illidan banned out and Kael'thas banned out with a first pick up of Muradin. Strong force.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to go into an event and just be like, what are the standard bans right now, guys? Kael'thas and Illidan, no surprise to see those guys taken out. Bit interesting to see Naventic first pick Muradin. I don't know if I've seen them do that since they've transitioned Zuna to Warrior.
I thought this was Naventic's map pick.
Maybe.
Yes.
Yes, that's what the thing said, but that can't be the case. with
Right.
The first pick. So that means that. Because
Interesting.
when I first saw Towers was pick, I was like, oh, Panda Global's taking them to Towers, right?
Maybe it was
And then
back
I
from
saw-
them.
Okay.
Regardless. We have Li Ming being hovered now for Panda Global. So the prioritization of that is still there, much to mine and Dread's dismay for a little bit yesterday and moving forwards a bit.
This weekend, I think, has changed a lot of, again, Gilly alluded to the tournament meta. It starts to develop, around the teams and what they're facing against. And the fact that Li Ming has been able to do so much damage this tournament, it's been crazy.
Sorry. I just tilted Jay out. Yeah, next pick here for Panda Global. Will we see that melee assassin? I mean, we just got done talking about Thrall. Will they want to bust that out? Are they going to try and deny maybe the Sonya from Naventic? They've always been a Sonya team. Fits in really well. But they're going to go with the Uther, just give a little bit more protection for that Li Ming.
Neither team really willing to commit to these strong early picks. I mean, they're going with what you would consider maybe safe picks very early on,
these are
waiting to see what they
definitely
can counter.
If they go Uther, I almost guarantee Naventic will ban at ETC at this point, right? And if you're telegraphing that hard, like...
If
isn't
they
that
go
something
Uther
that's-
too, that you just give Naventic Task Sonya.
Right,
And they
yeah.
can go anywhere with that.
Yes. I already am appreciating the position that Naventic is in,
Yes.
considering what we're seeing right now, and they do lock in Uther.
You talked about Tess Sonya, and that's one of the really strong comps, but one of the things when Dread and I were looking at some of the drafts, now it was against the counter towards the Kael'thas, but they were very heavy over the last few weeks into a Tass Thrall, which was a little bit more surprising when Sonya was still on the board. So they're here with their next 2 picks, and we're going to see how this goes.
I think we'll definitely see that test something.
They had a 100% involvement rate in several of their sets with Tassadar. It was either they picked them, or it was banned out, or it was picked against them. They love Tassadar.
Yeah, Tassadar, I mean, if you have a good Tassadar player, which Naventic has too, in McIntyre and in Fan, they are both fantastic Tassadars. You can do a lot with this hero, and you do see that there is a love for Tassadar in those teams, like Cloud9, like Naventic, like My Insanity.
Is there a room for a Falstad here? More dwarves, more fun?
Not this early. I don't think you need to pick them up this
Yeah,
early
I think
on.
it would be later on, so they could make sure to secure like whatever melee that they want with that Tassadar, knowing that that is so highly prioritized for them.
Okay.
If you were to do that on any map, though, it would be Sky Temple.
Yeah.
The global presence from Falstad, the Gust ability on the Boss Pit, I mean, there's so many good points. There's so many good angles that you can get the Gus in as well.
Are they concerned about not having Rhaegar? Since it's Kinma, he's been showing Karzim,
most
no problem.
versatile
Yeah,
support
he's
in
so
NA,
versatile. So that's not as much of a concern.
Yeah, we've seen them run Tastar, Karazim during the qualifiers as
Right.
well. So as you say, it's comfort.
There we go.
There's Zeratul.
Oh.
Zoya.
Already making those changes to
The
Zeratul today.
Prophet.
Yeah, we got the Protoss brothers
All
here.
they need
You
to
got
do is
one
get
right, at least.
Artanis.
One right.
They can follow up with Artanis.
One day.
The more
One day
interesting,
we'll get that.
the interesting
The
part about
trio.
that is that they went pretty heavy into their time pool to decide on that Zeratul.
Yeah.
So that's got to be up for debate up there when they're talking about this. Zeratul is very strong and works really well, but are they indecisive this early? Are they trying to just figure out what strategy they want? I mean, they took quite a bit of time for that pick.
I would love to see Kenma bust out the Brightwing.
Yes.
So much. We saw Cloud9 versus, I believe, Gale Force on this map, where they had the Zeratul, they had the Tastar, and they had the Brightwing, and they just kind of roamed around. You know, the Zeratul Brightwing teleport combo, where suddenly it's a 2v1 on top of you and you just die.
I wonder if this is the ban that Kalaris was just talking about. This is the moment where they can take ETC off the board, and that was one that they actually took off the board yesterday. But Greymane was also a very scary thing. They're going to take Greymane off here.
All right. That was a little bit less expected, I would say.
Yeah.
Well, on this map yesterday versus Naventic, Panda Global busted out the Greymane, and they won with it.
They did. That's true. Had a little bit of a different setup, I suppose, but
Yeah, it was basically straight down the line what this was, minus the Meridian with the Thrall and
Right.
the Greymane, and then Tyrande too. So now Panda Global with 2 picks. Still need a warrior. ETC is available, and they're hovering him.
There it is.
Why
I sort of
not?
wish
I was
that had
gonna
been
bait-
the
Why
plan.
not?
I was going to try and do that, you know, let's hope for the Haka thing, but nope.
Yeah.
There it is, ETC Sonya.
All right.
Lots of
scary
damage.
comp,
This is
Zoya.
a really good comp from Panda Global.
Yeah.
I would love from Naventic right now, Brightwing and Abathur. That would be so terrifying.
The thing as well is that, yeah, aside from Void Prison, like, unless, if Li Ming actually takes a bit more of a safer build, I look at that lineup for Panda Global and I'm like, I'm not too bothered about Zeratul being around.
yeah.
Actually, I'm not too bothered.
The nice thing is they have taken away Tassadar, so not only is that something that they put emphasis on, but they also have one of the key ways of being able to spot out Zeratul and make sure that he doesn't get a good flank with the Void Prison. Another way, Brightwing with Peekaboo. So they're just limiting that very well, especially if they were to go for the Brightwing.
My favorite part about Li Ming is the fact that she has so many talents that she can choose from to help try and counter that Zeratul approach. It's not something that we see that often, but the availability is there. So Zeratul not as intimidating as you were just talking about.
It's a hilarious thought how Calamity is actually really good when you're blinking towards or teleporting towards a Zeratul. I'm like, well, okay, hi, it's your mini Peekaboo with some damage involved.
Not too surprising to see Naventic run Karazim. They've been the longest running Karazim team in North America with the Divine Palm style. But recently we've also been seeing Kenma bust out the 7-side strikes. You got a double warrior
Love it.
lineup here with Sonya ETC, so it can work in this situation.
It's funny, we see that in Europe quite a bit as well, especially in this double support style. And then you even have people like Shrimpy who will take Epiphany later on to deal with the Divine Shield because he knows he's not going to get full effectiveness out of Transgression over towards level 20. So even Epiphany can sometimes make a rear. I don't think we're going to see it here, but fun theory crafting. Fun theory crafting.
No
Yeah, that's the only time I've ever seen Epiphany.
Yeah.
No
like,
true
It
global
works.
picked up here outside of if you want to spec into stage dive. Is this the opportunity for Falstad, Zoya?
Maybe. I think they're kind of forced into the false set at this point. The global will help out a lot.
Yeah.
I can't really think of any other damage.
They've been playing a lot of Tyrande.
You know-
Tyrande would work.
You know what? I still wouldn't mind a hacker. Personally.
The problem with
Triple warrior?
I still wouldn't mind it. You'd be surprised at how much damage he's actually able to pump out towards heroes.
It's true.
the problem I have with Tyrande here is all 5 members on the end of Team Naventic have an escape.
There's the Thrall.
There's the Thrall. Okay, so we do got that
Nice.
Kalaris, they heard you.
very aggro composition
Yeah.
from Panda Global here.
I'm glad we get to see a little bit of Thrall at least, right? He's the green Jesus and he does what he can. So I'm okay with that. So Thrall enters the fray, but overall, I like both compositions. I actually think both compositions have got stable, sturdy positions here. What do we make of this?
I think that we might not actually see Wrath of the Berserker this game. We might see a little
Oh no.
Not until it happens, boys.
Oh, wow, that tease. That was crazy. Yeah, we might see a little bit of heroic. There's a lot of initiation on that end. You got of course, the ETC with the power slide mosh pit. You got the Sundering to help set that up. You had Leap on top of that. Could be really crazy.
I talked to Yuge, and I asked him, I said, can you do crazy composition still and adding Som to your roster? And he said, we have the potential to do more now. The fact that they have these two players who were both the melee assassin players in Cladius and in Yuge means they can do things like this by picking Thrall and Sonya and then maybe doing something like crazy like a Leap.
Yeah.
I guess the more curious thing, Void Prison's often used to isolate a melee hero or melee heroes away from their healer. When you've got Sonya, Thrall, and ETC all going in, all of those have great sustain. Who do you blow up in your back-end damage as Sylvanas? Who do you pick off? I mean, this is going to be tough if Panda Global chooses to engage, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And they don't even have to blow up the front line. You can like Naventic's the king of flanks, right? They can come at you from any angle. You know, Void Prison in the front line, suddenly you got a very squishy Uther in the back line that can just be killed off very easily too. So, I don't know. I think I'm leaning towards Naventic on this one. This is I really love the Sylvanas pickup. I think that just kind of ironed out the draft for me.
It's so funny, like especially here, we see Sylvanas oftentimes being first ban. We see it, of course, on some maps in particular where she is extremely powerful, but then even on towards Sky Temple and stuff like that, very last pick kind of comes in as almost a trump card, I would say, for a map like this, where she's still very powerful. If you're able to get some early structural damage done, that makes those temples more effective later on down the line.
My absolute favorite part about the Sylvanas rework is that level 4 Lost Soul talent where you get the cooldown on your Shadow Dagger, and you have 3 melee heroes that are going to be up there. That's a lot of cooldown.
4 technically if you count Uther too.
4 if you count Uther. That's a lot of spread damage that adds up over time. At the end of the game, don't be surprised to see Sylvanas topping the charts in damage. How effective it is in the fights is going to be the key.
Yeah, keeping in mind that spread damage is also great versus a hero like Uther who does not have the best AoE healing as well. So, I don't know. I love that Sylvanas pickup.
I do too. That right there, I think, was the moneymaker for Naventic.
Sylvanas is very, very good too, obviously for Sky Temple. The fact that they are going to be able to get more out of the boss. They can use her to take down structures, especially if they can win some team fights. That'll be key for them to save some of the shots from the temples if they can win a good team fight.
Is there enough blow-up potential on the side of Naventic on towards any of those, as you say, with the sustain that they do have? Do you see it as being enough blow-up?
Thrall, Sonya, ETC, that's a lot of healing. Do we see groupies make a comeback here for ETC?
God, they would
definitely
never die.
Speed metal.
They wouldn't lose any health.
I mean, they all have such great sustain, and they're all so, I guess, I don't want to say tanky, but they all have ability to take damage. And if it's Zeratul Sylvanas, it's going to be tough to accumulate enough damage to blow up one hero in particular. So the team fights will be very interesting to watch.
If it's Sundering Leap, they could definitely blow someone up themselves.
Oh yes, very much so. Very, very quickly, especially if Thrall gets his flanks off. And
right, the flanks versus the flanks with Zeratul and Thrall.
Yeah. But I again, you know, halfway through that draft, I was a little bit worried for the Zeratul, and I'm still a little bit worried. I think, you know, Naventic, got to give it to them. They're very good at executing these kinds of things, sure. But am I concerns unfounded? Is this?
No, your concerns are very valid. With compositions like this, you always have to take into account the name that's behind it, because execution is so important with these comps. And even a team like Naventic, it's not going to be easy for them to pull this off. But if they do, then this is going to be a beautiful game on their end.
Who will play Zeratul?
I would say it would be Mac, because I mean, after yesterday, it kind of throws you off a bit.
I know,
but that was
that's
Illidan
why
specifically. I would say Mac.
We'll have to see. Could be Fan too after yesterday.
To Zoya's point, looking at the draft, if this didn't say Naventic right behind it, I'd wonder. This is Naventic. They are the #1 team in NA, and I'm comfortable with whatever they draft. They're that good.
Yeah, and they always excel at drafting too. That's one of their strong suits for sure. But they have, in the past, I've talked to McIntyre, and he's actually praised Cladius' drafting before for Panda Global. So it's not something like they think that they could just body them in drafting. And that's maybe why, when you asked earlier, why they were taking so long with picks, is because they do respect the thought processes that Cladius puts into the drafting.
I mean, the amount of respect that they showed yesterday, again, this was match #1 yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a rematch today, and this is the exact same first map. And we saw that entire draft develop from game 1 to game 2 to game 3, and every single game, Naventic took a hero off the board that was in the game before that gave them trouble. Every game.
Yeah.
It's like a chess match.
Exactly. It looked good. It looked strong. Just to kind of keep you guys informed out there as well as to what we're waiting for. There is a slight audio issue with one of our players, and we want to keep you as informed as possible so you know what is going on. So thank you very much for your patience. Make sure to check out the trophy over on Twitter as well, as it is pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
I got up close and personal with that earlier to take a picture. That thing is great.
Yeah.
That thing, I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's very nice, like an atom. I like it, with the little heroes logo in the middle.
I love it. It looks really good.
Of course, Naventic just kind of slowly sorting out some things here as well. I'm not sure exactly who has the audio issue overall, but looking at Naventic as a whole, going forwards, obviously a lot of people expect them to get to top 4 from this, even though Panda Global was able to take a game off them, and then they came off strong. Naventic, no doubt, after how they went down against Cloud9, not in the happiest of places for that, for sure, I feel. They were able to do so well against them in recent results. Are we expecting Naventic, a team like Naventic, to get all the way to the finals here once again?
Yes, and I think Naventic will have a good chance if they do meet up against Cloud9 again. I feel like yesterday, Cloud9 revealed a lot about themselves, how they're drafting, little pocket picks like the Rexar, a little bit of play style things. Naventic drafted like they did weird stuff, like the Aspen, the Abathur.
Right.
They didn't show anything. They didn't play their normal style as well. So, yeah, while that was a 2-0 for Cloud9, don't want to take anything away from them, I don't think Naventic did anything that showed what they have planned.
I mean, it was a best of 3, right, overall, and it was 2-0 in the end. Does that change in a best of 5 scenario when it goes on towards the finals? Do they get to feel out their opponents a little bit more and kind of bring the fight to them when they've got things like that?
A quick chat I had this morning before we came over here was that I heard that Zuna woke up and he was ready.
Yeah.
He woke up with game face on.
Right, okay.
And he's ready to go.
He
and
specifically said he's hungry right now.
He's hungry, yes. He's
hungry for some
ready.
He's going to start off with a nice plate of Panda real quick.
They're endangered, man.
That's not allowed.
Well, you were vouching.
Zuna doesn't care, man.
All right. All right. Okay, guys. Predictions down the line from Gilly all the way down here. What do you think?
Well, it's as clear as black and white. I'm voting for Panda.
I'll give it to my boy Zuna, Naventic.
Naventic in this case. I got to.
All right. Okay. I think I'll probably end up going with Naventic as well. I think from... Sorry, Gilly.
That's all right.
I think they're probably going to be woken up. And also, I'm angry at the WWF for
it's
actually stealing it from the World Wrestling Federation. So anyway, we are going to our casters. So a huge thank you for your patience, ladies and gents out there. We are now going to Gilly and Zoya to start off the first game of the day.
Thank you, Kalaris. I am so excited, Zoya, because it's time for our first game of Championship Saturday. The winner of this match will face Gale Force eSports in the semifinals.
We were just talking about how if Naventic moves on for that rematch in Cloud9, you learn a lot from your opponents, and I'm really curious to see what Panda Global learned. But let's go ahead and introduce our teams here on the left-hand side of the map in the blue trunks. Make some noise for Naventic. Kenma on Karazim, Tassadar played by Fan, Zuna on the Zeratul, McIntyre on Murden, and Big Impact playing Sylvanas.
I love the switch-ups, but in the red, it's Panda Global with Cladius on Thrall, Som playing Sonya, Yuge playing Uther, Jason on Leeming, and finally, B-Kid will be playing ETC.
Well, this is going to be a really interesting match. Rematches are always fun to play, especially when they're this close together. You know, you still have the feelings of the last match in your heart. You have to really just kind of clear your head and don't remember the mistakes from before. Clay is trying to catch out Zuna here. You mentioned it. You know, there's the swap here. McIntyre playing the Warrior, and we see Zuna on the Zeratul. You know, he was the former flex player for Tempo Storm. Now was the former flex player for Naventic. So he is very well versed on this hero.
Is this a problem though, having a team where the roles keep switching up like that? They had Fan and McIntyre switching yesterday. Today they switch out as well with Zuna going on to Zeratul. Is it a problem mindset-wise where all of a sudden you're like, okay, I was playing this and now I have to play Warrior, or vice versa for Zuna?
Well, there's the very early first blood. And no, with some teams I would say it's an issue, but Naventic's players are such of a high caliber that these role swaps don't even phase them. You know, they're all well-versed in these heroes. They all know what they're doing. Yes, you know, maybe Murden is not as ironed out as Zuna's for McIntyre, but it's still going to be a fantastic Murden player.
Well, speaking of fantastic, Naventic are getting a little bit of an early siege in the bottom lane, taking out one tower, and that will only help them in that second temple phase when it spawns down there. If they can try to get all of that, they may even get a fort from it. But the first temple phase is first, and that will be in the mid and top, activating in 10 seconds.
We'll see how we are going to contest this point for Panda Global. Will they rotate up top? As we do see Thrall up there. Thrall will be able to win that out over Tassadar by himself. But if Zuno rotates up as well, which it looks like the Tassadar brothers are here, going to be able to bully Cladius off this point. So top point going to go over to Naventic for the time being.
So this is the thing that I liked about Panda Global's composition, is they do have a lot of very good shrine holders. Li Ming, though, is struggling versus Kenma and Big Impact down here. Leaving these two people down here not only forces Panda Global to make sure that they have somebody down there to stop them a little bit from being able to push all the way into the fort, but it also just means that they're going to get more of a push done for that. They're already looking for the later game at that second temple, but Cladius is in trouble.
Does Zuna have the blink up to go in for the kill? No, he doesn't. He doesn't want to risk it. I like this play from Zuna. This is a very different Zuna feel. I can already tell, and we're only 2 minutes in the game. It is much more conservative than we would normally see. He's playing much more safe. You immediately saw him blink out of that initial fight. He had the blink up to go back in for the re-engage, and he's just like, we got our lead. Let's just play this smart until we can actually secure kills that are not too risky.
Panda Global wants to get the final few shots away from this top temple as the rotations are coming in for both teams. Sylvanas is still in the bottom lane and Li Ming in the mid, so it's a 4v4 up here as Big Impact starts to go up. It looks like both of the teams are rotating their members around between mid and bot, trying not to give up any of the soak. The final shots are fired. A fight is breaking out.
Zuna looking for the flank down below. He does scout out Som, so his team knows they have to back out, as that Sonya flank would have been devastating. Just nice conservative play coming out here from Naventic. They're not willing to risk anything. This is Sky Temple. It's one of the more snowbally maps, and they already have a Sylvanas, so they're going to have a lead in structures, even if they do lose the earlier shrines.
Right. A lot of talent predictions from when we were talking in the draft phase,
again.
as Dominance will really help, probably Calamity, maybe even Illusionist and Diamond Skin as we get to the later stages of her talents. But Cold Embrace too for Sylvanas, so she will later on have Shadow Dagger up more often for the vulnerability.
The support's not here for Panda Global, but they annihilate Zuna. Got resets here for Jason. Kenma getting very low. Will Som be able to land the spirit? No, there's going to back off and take the point. And yeah, you can't, not ignore the Li Ming burst there.
Right, the invade backfiring, and that gives Panda Global their first kill of the game. Experience very neck and neck between the two teams, about to get level 7 talents.
We'll see here what Panda Global wants to do to kind of push their lead even further. Does look like Sonya is about to start the Bruiser camp in the top right, while Cladius and Jason getting a really good siege down here with these Giants. Even though Big Impact is here on Sylvanas, they're still starting to do some damage to those towers.
Yeah, Li Ming's still good at that, even though her siege damage was nerfed before. She can still chunk a tower, and as you can see from that bottom one too. So I'm starting to work on the Bruisers, but Zuna realizes this. What can he do? Can he get in here and actually stop and steal him away? Som is in trouble. Yuge is there with heals, and they might try to catch out Zuna here. Ancient Spear hits him, but he blinks into the safety of Fan.
Yeah, nice rotation. Immediate response time from Yuge, and the rest of the team is here as well. Beacon goes to the power slide onto Fan there. He has to kite up, and he will be able to get out. So neither team getting a kill in that fight. Taking a look at these level 7 talents, I mean, I'm not surprised to see Cleanse on both ends.
Right, that's really going to help with the stuns, especially from Murden, but too with the ETC and the roots from Thrall. Anybody, we talked about it, there's blow-up potential on both sides, and anybody could be a victim from that, so it's good to have the cleanses on either side.
Well, the point is being contested right now by Naventic, but Panda Global rotating hard onto Kenma. Is he in trouble? He does have Radiant Dash up to get to Zuna, so he should be able to back out, but he took a lot of free poke there. It's going to be hard for him to top himself off. Nice shields coming in here from Fan, and they're engaging already hard onto Cladius. He's already very low, and it's only solo support Uther.
McIntyre starting to hold on to the point. Oracle revealing the positioning of the members of Panda Global, and they're still healing themselves back up before they get right back into the fight. Neither team close to getting their heroic abilities, so each team can stay in from this fight. But remember, the structural damage was done more to Panda Global's side, so they really want to make sure that they try to get this so they don't lose that fort.
I love the Pierce pickup here from Muradin. Makes so much sense when you have 4 melee heroes on this team. And Som getting very low, gets the spear onto Zuna, but he does blink out. McIntyre taking a lot of damage. The team is actually very split as they're trying to get Jason underneath the fort. Will that be a problem as McIntyre is very low, but nice rotation down from Fan to start healing up his team. And all 5 Naventic members finally together. Som getting very low, gets bursted by Zuna. Is it enough to secure the kill? And yes, Som's going to go down.
Oh, but McIntyre and Kenma starting to get taken out by Jason, but Thrall is going to go down to Li Ming will fall. Karazim, the only kill for Panda Global, as they will get Sylvanas too, but they're going to lose everybody. A 5 for 2 for Naventic, and they get their heroic heroic abilities.
Man, the players are far from us. We have a loud audience, and we have Counter-Strike behind us, and I can still hear Zuna all the way through all of that. He is getting loud. You can tell he is excited for today. You can tell he is in the zone. Now we have a level lead here for Naventic. We have our heroics, nothing out of the ordinary, and we talked about it in the draft, the chance for 7-sided strike versus this double warrior lineup, and there it is.
There it is. They are ready to separate someone away. The Sonya, the Thrall, anybody that can get separated out, maybe even ETC who gets too far forward looking for his mosh pit, as that will be the choice of heroic for him. The rest of them getting Divine Shield, Disintegrate, Wrath of the Berserker. Sorry, friends. No lead.
Not this game, but hold it. We have the rest of the day, Gilly.
That's true.
We might actually get the famous lead.
Someday.
Nice invade here from Panda Global as they steal the Giants for Naventic. They're doing a good job of controlling the Mercs, and they have 2 Merc camps pushing in the bottom. And what they're doing with this is they're willing to trade with the top lane. You have Kerzim and Sylvanas pushing up there. It's too hard to stop this Sylvanas push. They're willing to just sacrifice that fort and get a fort for their own. It's a nice heads-up play from them. They have to be careful, though, as they are very split.
Disintegrate pushing Zuna back, but yeah, I think Naventic might be able to defend this even, which is huge for them because of the fact that they did get that top fort. Just the fact that they have Sylvanas, they can bring it down very quickly. They don't have to worry about it attacking themselves as the members. And, you know, Panda Global, it was going to take way too long to rotate up to the top, but that defense was perfect for them. They made all the right choices there.
We all were so excited by the Sylvanas pickup here from Naventic, and we're seeing them abuse it perfectly, Gilly. 3 forts still standing for Naventic, 2 are down, and the front one is taking some serious damage.
Psalm trying to help his team get back at experience. You know, they're a full level behind now because of the structure war, with Naventic still having all 3 of their forts up, only 1 remaining on the side of Panda Global. And that starts to become a factor as the next temple phase will start to spawn, because Naventic will have 13. They'll have that big advantage for them, and maybe even can, if they get the bottom temple, even look at the boss too.
I mean, this is 13. This is Power Spike for Zeratul, as you do get the Wormhole, the ability to teleport in and out with your Blink, as well as big impact. He loves going Will of the Forsaken at this tier. There is a lot of hard CC on the end of Panda Global, and if he does get hit, you know, with a Power Slide or something, and has to be the one to interrupt the Mosh Pit with his Wailing Arrow, and there it is, Will of the Forsaken.
Well, that was a great win for Panda Global as they bait out the Void Prison. Now, that is a long time where that very key heroic to the side of Naventic is not going to be available, and that means that Panda Global, although they don't have 13, can still feel okay to be out and about, getting one of these temples, not sacrificing both to Naventic.
Yeah, baiting the Void Prison is definitely a good stall factor there, as they desperately need that. They're holding the bottom shrine right now with Psalm on Sonya. That's going to take out 2 forts here for Naventic, bottom and mid just about to fall, but Naventic going to secure themselves the final fort here of Panda Global. They're up 6 kills to 3. They've got that full level lead, Gilly, and they're still very far ahead in this match.
Yeah, they got a full level lead, but the structure-wise, it's starting to even out with only 1 fort being left.
Too.
Yeah, for Naventic. So they are at least trying to even it out. They haven't really lost anybody else past this point, and they're stabilizing a lot, which is great for Panda Global because they've got 13, and that's a big deal for them too. They do pick up Illusionist for Leave Me. They have Shrink Ray to help if Zeratul gets too far forward, and Mystical Spear, always a big deal for Sonya to get.
Well, it looks like Panda Global is going to start their Bruisers here potentially. Nope. They are ready to go contest boss. That's Naventic's missing out on the map. You have Fan aggressively scouting and zoning. And it's going to be an evade here onto the Bruiser camp, and it looks like Naventic's not even willing to risk that fight. And that's smart. When you have a lead on a map like this, if you don't have a significant advantage, which they don't right now, it's only 14 versus 13, they're willing to take the safer option. This is such a drastic shift in Zuna's shot calling, but it's good. This is really good style coming out from Naventic.
Absolutely, and they're even going to sacrifice their own Giants. We can clear up Giants, that's no problem. We have Sylvanas. We don't need to make these unnecessary risks. Just let Panda Global run around, get the mercenary camps, and then we can make sure to get the big team fights and win them, take the boss, take keeps with Sylvanas, do what we need to do after that.
Tassadar's top, so he's not the one scouting this point. The boss is at half HP. McIntyre is going to scout out, and Naventic realizes they immediately rotate Fan down, but can they get here in time? Will they end up being able to contest this? At this point, they're not going to let it reset. Stormbolt used very early in this fight. McIntyre taking some light poke here. Void Prison goes down early. They're trying to get on the point. 7-side strike on B-Kid, and they take him out.
Oh, he's down. Psalm on the point, but what can he do? A huge Wailing Arrow on the other 3.
Wow.
Gladius barely stays alive. A beautiful Divine Shield, but Li Ming will be going down. There's no way they can do this. They lose everybody for this boss.
They still have the Sylvanas as well, Gilly. Now, this is a tough call for Naventic to make. Big Impact looks like he's going to have to go clear up those Giants, which is such a good thing for Panda Global. If Sylvanas was pushing bottom lane with this boss right now, that would be devastating for Panda Global. It would probably guarantee that keep.
Yeah, still, it's a boss that is going to push freely with no defense. Just now, ETC will be back up, and that was super risky. It was risky to go for the boss, and it was risky even to be in the positioning that they were at. They were on the other side with Void Prison up.
Well, here comes that 7-side strike that secured the first kill. B-Kid not getting any value in that fight. A beautiful Wailing Arrow outside of the Void Prison helped a lot, but that Divine Shield was so clutch from Muse. Unfortunately, there was just so much that went wrong before that for Panda Global that just lost them the fight. We do see that the boss did serious damage here in the bottom lane, as it did take that front wall, meaning this bottom shrine is going to get some really good value from Naventic.
Void Prison plus 7-sided strike was...
That was beautiful.
It was horrible for Panda Global, though. Just awful. 3 people in that. B-Kid by himself off to the side. He took every single strike of that 7-sided strike, and there was no coming back for that once they lost the tanky frontliner and ETC. But now they are down the level 16 talents, but still trying to fight it out around this temple.
Avatar taking a lot of burst damage pops. Avatar very early. The Sun Ring comes out. Nice double stun. 7-side strikes going on the Swamp, and a Void Prison, a Wailing Arrow, and that was perfect. The isolation on Leeming secured a very easy kill.
Oh, and everyone else is going to be lost now too, because that is a beautiful force wall. B-Kid trying what he can. A Divine Shield into the mosh pit, but nobody is there to even help take people down out of that. And again,
this could be game, Gilly.
Another team wipe for Naventic.
Yep, 13 minutes in this game, 16 kills before. We have 18 seconds on Leeming. The keep already very low. They're going straight for that core, Gilly. Everyone's still very topped off. Plenty of mana on Kenma and Fan. I think this is definitely it.
Well, there goes the keep, and they've already positioned to move around the court.
What a game.
That is a very short game to see at the beginning of this series, but Naventic on fire coming into this series.
We talked about it in the draft. Last set, we saw Naventic slowly figuring out Panda Global's play style, and we felt they were going to keep the momentum going into the set, and that is exactly what they did. 0% on the court. GG, Naventic takes game number 1.
Flawless play there.
Yeah, that was almost perfect.
Amazing play from Naventic.
Not many people would make that call. The Void Prison went down overlapping with the Wailing Arrow, but what that did was just set them up for a very easy kill onto Leeming, and just, when the Void Prison fell, Wailing Arrow's effect still on them, they're able to clean up very easy. That was beautiful execution on the end of Naventic, and that's what Jay House said in the analysis. This composition wins if it's got beautiful execution. They nailed it.
Right, it's Naventic. They have the execution. But what I am so proud of them of, too, is that this is a team in the past that has had issues with momentum and morale problems. And they have obviously adjusted that now, because they've lost 2-0 to Cloud9, but obviously they feel good here today.
Barely dropped the pace. Barely dropped the pace at all. That was really impressive stuff by Naventic. And from, I think the 7th minute mark onwards, no drop at all. No drop at the wall.
Not at all. I mean, there was a little bit of issues with a few deaths maybe early on, but after that, he called it. It was clear dominance after that.
They played it well.
I think we have replay ready actually to check out for this first game, of course, as we do go on in J-Howe.
And this was the biggest fight right here. I mean, this is pretty much what decided it. The Void Prison, the 7-sided strike, and that Wailing Arrow, Zoya. They did it twice.
Yeah.
They did it twice there. And you can see the follow-up here is basically going to execute the kills. 1 goes down, 2 goes down. Mosh pit being used, Divine Shield going out. At this point, it's pretty much all over.
Yeah, I love Fan's positioning at the end of that replay where he rotates around the VP and then places the perfect force wall for that to land. That was just such great play from Naventic.
I like how Yush throughout the Divine Shield and it was like, good luck, buddy!
Yeah. If only, Mosh pit slowly drained the life of everyone inside of it until it hit 0. Maybe that would have worked.
I mean, talking about that moment there, I mean, what were Panda Global actually doing all the way down there? It was 15 against 18.
Yeah.
They're sitting out there that far without talent, without 16, that they need to gain back to try and get themselves back into this game. Just a missed call? What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, it just had to have been, just a bad call. There was absolutely no reason for them to be down there. They were not out of the game yet. Yes, they were going to lose a keep.
True.
But
that doesn't make you out of it.
Yeah, you can still. We've seen bigger comebacks than that. So.
Well, boys and lady, thank you very much. Of course, make sure to check out the Blizzard store. Go to gear.blizzard.com, and for a limited time offer, you can get yourself 15% discount on all Heroes of the Storm merchandise, as Jay Howe has just aptly pointed out down to the bottom. We do have a code for you to enter when you actually purchase anything, so make sure to go over there. There's some really cool stuff. For now, though, we're going to go to a short break, and when we are back, it will be Naventic going up against Panda Global, game number 2 here from Austin.